day, Pat the Backyard Builder here. Well, it's early November and we're finally getting around to a project here we started earlier in the summer here. We finally got a few minutes time. Um, Absolutely amazed at the weather here. We had the first week in November and we still haven't had a snowflake fall, which is amazing for this time of year. So right now we're finishing up the fire pit. I widened the base of the pit earlier this summer. You might have saw the previous video I put up where how to use older concrete mixes and stuff that have basically gone stale and whatnot, just with a little refreshing of the mix with some new mix. But now we're just putting my fire pit together. I have tried a couple of previous times to make fire pits. I've made them, well, the first one was casting a solid ring, and the expansion, contraction of the heating cooling cycle just broke that one apart in a couple of years, and so that wasn't very successful. A little more successful was I built a brick fire pit using some refractory cement and refractory bricks around the inside to take the heat, and then I put an air gap around the side so that it would dispel some of the heat. But the heating cooling cycle eventually destroyed that one as well. So this is fire pit number 3. So I've got some nice bricks here at the local Home Depot. There are a variety of different faces on them, what I'm doing, because these are actually made for stacking walls, rather than going into a circle. I'm having to take the brick cutter and just bevel them so that I can put them into a circle. And once we get our rings all done here, then I have to get out the welder and make a custom fire grate for it, because this is an oddball size. So yeah, it's going to be a fun project. So it's turning out to be nice and relaxing so far. And yeah, I'll just shut up now and let you watch what I'm up to. So anyways, to make my my fire pit, I've started out with blocks, retaining wall blocks that I just bought at the local Home Depot. And what I've done, the blocks are rectangular, so what I've done is I just simply put them in the brick cutter and cut them off in the corners like so. Now the reason for that is when you make your circle for your fire pit, if you don't cut the corners, you're going to end up with a gap like this in between each of the bricks, and that's not what you want. What you want is to have all the cuts nice and flush all the way around the fire pit. Okay, so in order to figure out how many blocks you're going to need for your fire pit, what you need to do is figure out what the diameter, or not the diameter, but the circumference of the fire pit is going to be. Now, if you've got a diameter let's say, well, in my case, it's 45-inch diameter, and which gives me a circumference of about 141 inches. Now you can figure out your diameter by, or pardon me, you can figure out your circumference by taking your diameter, in which case is 45, and you multiply it by pi, which is 3.14, and that gives you close enough. In this case, it's 141.3 inches. Now, the blocks are various sizes. In my case, my blocks are 11 inches across, so that means I'm going to need about 13 blocks to do each circle. So if I want to go, now they're 4 inches high, so if I want to go for 12 inches total, then I'm going to need a total of 39 blocks, which is 13 blocks times 3 layers. So I'm going to need 39 blocks altogether. Now, in order to figure out the angle that you're going to cut these at, you need to do a little bit of math. Now, let's suppose that you're using 12-inch blocks, and which makes it easy. There's 360 degrees. 360 degrees in a circle. So 360 divided by 12, that gives you 30 degrees for each block. Now, because each block gets cut at both ends, you take that 30 degrees and you divide it by 2. And that gives you an angle for each cut of 15 degrees. And now you can do the math for whatever size of block you're using, because if you have a larger fire pit or a smaller fire pit, or larger block or smaller block, it's all going to be different. So you have to do the math each time. As always, safety first when doing a project like this. You got the ear protectors, you got the safety shield. Keep your hands and loose clothing well back from that blade, that segmented blade. If it's capable of cutting through brick, just think of what it'll do to your hands. So do be careful when using a machine like this. So anyways, I've got my angle set on my brick cutter here, and I'm basically just cutting making a cut about 80% of the way through. The brick cutter that I have here doesn't quite go all the way through, but it does go about 80% of the way here. So I'll show you how to knock that end off clean here. As always, gear up for something like this. It's you don't want to be injuring yourself. So I've got this basically set up here. I've got a chalk line that running across the deck here that I can line my brick up to. Just basically hit the corner here and then start feeding. Now, you got to make sure you feed these things slowly, because otherwise you can jam your blade. So it does take a few minutes for each one. Yeah, a quick easy trick for this here. So is rather than changing the angle and to do the other side, just flip the brick over here, and I'll show you what we do here afterward. Again, just line it up with the corner and line it up with your line, and away you go. Now, you don't want to keep a screwdriver handy because these water pumps are notorious for getting little chunks of gravel and stuff jammed inside them, and you have to keep water on that blade to keep it cool, even in cooler weather like this. So when you start it up, you need to have a stream of water coming back down onto your product. And if that ever stops and you start getting a cloud of dust, then you risk overheating your blade. So you do want to keep that blade cool. Okay, if you notice the water has stopped coming across your brick here, what you do is just stop the saw, back it out, and just pull your hose off. Give it a good hard blow. Start it up again, make sure the water's flowing. And then you can just put it right back on there and carry on. Okay, so now that all our bricks are cut, now if you got a brick cutter that goes deep enough to go through these things, wonderful. But a lot of brick cutters are small, like mine, and don't quite make it all the way through, so you're left with this cut that's 80% through the block, and you need to complete it here. But that's actually rather simple to do. All you need is a mason's hammer and a chisel. You just simply put that into the crack and give it a good sharp tap, and off she breaks. Now, if it doesn't break off clean, or you've got bigger spots here, then you can just simply take the pick end of your mason's hammer, chip that down a little bit, and just work it smooth. Simple as that. There we go. Flip it over to the other end, grab a chisel again, off she goes. And it's just a matter of finishing it and putting it in place. There we go.